The inside story on the issues that affect you and your community. This is Local 12 Newsmakers.
Good morning and welcome to Local 12 Newsmakers. Last week I was joined by the three candidates in the Democratic primary for Hamilton County Commission. This week I'm joined by the two Republican candidates. Leslie Ghiz is currently in her third term as a member of the Cincinnati City Council. She is an attorney specializing in labor and employment law. Chris Monzel is also a member of Cincinnati City Council, serving for 8 of the last 9 years. He is an engineer with General Electric. Welcome, in both of your cases, welcome back to Newsmakers.
Thank you very much.
Chris, let's begin with you. Last week, the three Democratic candidates tried to get them to address the budget issue for the county, not the city now, for the county. And they had different answers. Jim Tarbell suggests that we stop the property tax rollback. Hubert Brownie suggests a 1/4-cent sales tax increase. Cecil Thomas believes that we're going to have to declare bankruptcy and allow the courts to force some sort of reorganization, particularly with the Bengals. They all admit that none of these proposals solve the entire problem. So let's begin. Where would you start, Chris, with addressing the serious deficit problem on the county budget?
Well, first, I would not get rid of the property tax rollback. I disagree with Mr. Tarbell, and I disagree with Mr. Brown. I don't think we should be doing a sales tax increase either. I think we really need to look at the county budget really with a microscopic view of what we are paying for and come up with different ideas, such as selling off the county buildings and leasing them back. A lot of municipalities and government across the country have been doing that to save a lot of money. We pay over $20 million a year in facility fees with expenses.
But how much could that, if you lease them back, you would still have to pay?
There'd be a pay,
amount.
yeah.
But how much do you think that would cut?
Well, I mean, we have to do the analysis.
Or is there even a buyer in this market?
I think there is.
Okay.
I think because, in the Wall Street Journal recently they've said that a lot of, governments are looking at this because this is a quick way to get money in. And I don't know if that's, 15 million, 10 million, but it's a chunk of change that we have to analyze and look at. And then we have to look at our own services within the county administration of why do we have duplicate HR departments, human resources department? Why do we have duplicate IT departments? Why don't we try and work together to get rid of those type of duplication of services and really go down into the budget first? I think you got to hit that first, then you have to go after renegotiating the Bengals lease, and then we have to grow the pie and get more businesses.
Leslie, what about you? What on this deficit question?
Well, the deficit, as I've said and you've heard me say, it is just the biggest problem that faces our county right now, the stadium fund deficit. And I think you have to do a combination of a lot of things, which I think honestly the county is trying to do right now. They have the best and the brightest financial minds that are looking at this. They're dealing with the teams right now, trying to get the teams to take some concessions to help them out. There's going to have to be obviously some cuts at the county level. You cannot cut yourself out of this problem, so it shouldn't be thrown out there that we can make cuts and save everybody. We want to try to preserve the property tax rollback, obviously. I completely disagree with a sales tax to be added in order to pay for a property tax rollback. That makes no sense. I obviously disagree with bankruptcy. You don't bankrupt an entire county because one portion of what is going on is not working. I don't think that's a wise idea. And I don't want to touch the property tax rollback. I want to try to do everything possible to not do that.
Let me ask this question. Both of you are Republicans. The contracts on the stadiums were negotiated by an all-Republican county commission. These are obligations we make. Is it never permissible to raise taxes to meet an obligation that we took on? We can't ever raise, we can't step back from the property tax rollback, we can't add anything to the sales tax. Is it never permissible to do that? I mean, these are obligations we have.
My thinking on that is I agree with you. It was done by a Republican commission, and the Republicans, our favorite rally cry is, oh, it's the Democratic commission that's ruining things, and frankly, they're the ones that are cutting the budget back right now. Republicans made some very bad mistakes when this was put into effect. I am not of the mindset that over my dead body we're not going to roll back or stop the property tax rollback, but I am the type that will go out there and spend every waking minute trying to find a way to solve the problem without doing that, because I feel it was sold to the voters under the, that you will get a property tax rollback. So I feel it's only fair to do what was promised to them.
But it's at least possible to consider that after other things are taken into account.
Right, I mean, but as an ultimately last resort.
Well, I think we already done it. I mean, I think we passed the tax, correct, to pay for the stadiums. And that was done, so many years ago.
But it's not doing it.
Right, because it was based on a wrong funding model.
Right.
They had assumptions that just didn't pan out, and that's what we're really hurting right now. So to say that we have to pass a tax to fix it, to me is just a knee-jerk response, and it's just the quickest thing that people want to do to say, well, we'll fix it that way. Now, if citizens go out and do a referendum and they want to pass a tax on their own, God bless them if that's what they want to do. I think for us, we need to do our best to go in and find the money that we have of waste and inefficiency in the county administration. It's there. We
Both
know
of you
it's there.
talk about finding ways to merge various services between the city of Cincinnati, the big elephant in the county, and the county, whether it's 911 or it's other things. Are there enough shared services that could be developed that actually have an impact on the budget deficit?
I think that there are not. Excuse me. I think that there are some services that can be shared that would help. But
For example?
nothing is going. Well, 911 is what's being spoken of now.
Right.
That has taken years to even get that to the table. The county commission just voted yes on it. It's going to be discussed in finance on Monday with the city council. So we'll get a full discussion of it. And I, quite frankly, don't know what the outcome of that is going to be with my fellow city council members. That's one thing that could be. We have to look at everything, see if it's feasible, particularly with the city of Cincinnati, because they are the biggest service provider of all the municipalities. So, but that is not going to cover all of this
It's
debt.
not going to cover it either.
Right, exactly. But we shouldn't stop looking at it.
Okay.
Everybody looks at Indianapolis and says how successful they have been. Well, I believe they've been successful because they use the Yellow Pages test. That when they go out for their county services, they bid them out for anybody, private or government, to do the service. The same thing needs to happen here. We need to go and look at where we can get private sources to do them more cost efficient and cheaper. At the same time, if the city's doing it or another city's doing it cheaper, then we should utilize them.
Okay. Another topic. Leslie, you have very proudly mentioned that Simon Lease is leading your campaign chair, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Given that, if you're elected, what do you propose we're going to do about the jail situation? The current commission went to the voters several times, turned down. What are we going to do? I mean, if Simon Lease is chairing your campaign, are there some obligations here?
Well, no obligations. I mean, the thing it shows is the good working relationship that I have with Sheriff Lease, and I have no problem having, I know so much about public safety because of Sheriff Lease. I plan to work with him, figure out where we can find some efficiencies. The main thing with regard to jail space, though, is it is going to cost to build a new facility. It's going to cost to operate that facility, and we also have the issues with recidivism that Bill Seitz, currently in the State House, is looking at, and there may be some changes in state law with regard to that. We have to do everything we can, and it's all about money, to figure out a way to find alternative jail space. And
Will that require another going back to the voters again?
Well, right now, no, because the voters aren't going to bite on a sales tax currently. I think if the safety issue continues to get worse, as it has been doing, then yes, I think maybe they're going to I think the voters may do it for us because they realize we do need jail space. There are alternatives too, though. There are electronic monitoring units we can do that are a lot less expensive, and at least we can follow the people who are released currently, that type thing. But there's no easy fix button for that either.
Chris?
If you look at the last safety tax that was put on, it was for an amount of over $800 million it would have raised. Over $600 million of that would have gone to social service programs for criminals. Less than $200 million would actually built the jail. I mean, that's why it failed. The voters were like, this is a credible waste of money and an increase in government spending. What we need to look at is out-of-the-box ideas. We need to look at potentially working with Warren County and Claremont County, who need jail space too, and try to bring in a private jail to build it for us so we don't have to pay the cost of the build, but then get beds out of that.
But there will be operating costs.
Correct. But at the same time, if you have 3 different jurisdictions paying into that, it lowers the cost for everyone. I mean, I think that's one idea. We also have to look at our own jail that we have in place right now.
Multi-county cooperation is a very rare bird in Ohio.
It sure
It is, but doesn't mean we shouldn't stop and try to do it.
Let's take a look. Let's shift again to something else here. And both of you are running commercials that are very interesting. Let's begin. Leslie, let's begin with a commercial from you. Let's watch this.
Chris Monzel says he's the true conservative, but his record of wasteful spending says otherwise. Would a true conservative spend taxpayer dollars on a risky condo development, vote with liberal Democrats to increase the size of the streetcar project, and spend our money on mannequins? Monzel even supported over $6 million in bailout funds for Saks Fifth Avenue. Leslie Ghiz will control spending and put our county back to work. Our conservative voice, Leslie Ghiz for County Commissioner.
Chris, your reaction?
Well, I guess, in campaigns, this is what's expected. One interesting point, though, is now as my kids get older, I have 3 children, and they're actually able to listen and see this. And my 12-year-old daughter actually said to my wife, she's like, they're saying Daddy spends all this money. And that's kind of funny because he won't even take us out for ice cream. So, it's just kind of, it's just interesting to see a perspective from those eyes. The points in the ad, I didn't buy mannequins for Saks. We passed that to keep Saks downtown, to keep jobs downtown. If I knew that money was going to go for mannequins, I wouldn't have voted for it. And everybody knows I'm not supporting the streetcar.
Do you still think it was justifiable to vote for that money to keep Saks?
Absolutely. It's coming right off the riots. We were going to have a donut situation where the downtown jobs were leaving. Clausen's had just closed, and McAlpin's closed. We needed to make sure that we had a viable retail downtown, and it's worked. They're still here. They still have jobs. They're still paying taxes into the budget, and I think it was a success.
Very quickly, anything you would like to do to justify your ad?
Well, the Enquirer did it for me last week, and everything we said in the ad was true. And to me, this is a head-to-head race. I am making the distinction on the record. I think it's very important that that is done, and that's what I did.
Okay.
And I'm perfectly fine with that ad.
Let's look at an ad that Chris is running.
Liberal Democrat David Pepper raised taxes and increased spending. Guess who helped him? Liberal Leslie Ghiz. She endorsed Pepper for commissioner. And then she said being a Republican doesn't mean anything.
Just because I'm a Republican doesn't mean anything.
To Chris Monzel, being a conservative Republican means something. That's why Chris Monzel fought to stop wasteful spending on projects like the trolley. Monzel. Chris Monzel for county commissioner. Because being conservative means something.
Leslie?
I don't like that picture of me. Never mind, no, I'm
Does
kidding.
being
I'm
a conservative Republican mean something?
It does mean something, and I am, but I think it means